my actual presentation, I'd like to just say a few thank yous to everybody who made this possible. First of all, thanks to Pastor Joel for bringing Justice Generation to my attention, and to the church for giving me this opportunity by paying for it. I'd also like to thank everybody who helped set up my project. I kind of lifted it and then just left it to Pastor Joel. So, thanks to Kathy Shaw for writing my letter of recommendation to get into Justice Generation. And thanks to my boyfriend Jason and my grandma for helping me so much and pushing me to get off the couch and work on my project. I probably wouldn't have been able to do it without you. And I'm grateful for all of you for making this happen. It was really a wonderful experience. A few words about Justice Generation. Justice Generation is a big group of selected Methodist high school students coming together to actively learn about and fight racism. We met for 2 hours on the last Sunday of every month. These meetings would involve guest speakers, doctors, journalists, filmmakers, and even just college students who are people of color. It was so great to hear from people that represented me. They gave me an understanding of what my adult life would look like, as well as an idea how to change it. We even had a celebration for Indigenous Peoples Day, where we had multiple Native American guests play traditional music and talk to us about their ways of living. It is so much more exciting to hear people speak about important topics rather than reading about it in a book or article, so I love that we had these speakers. I also met a lot of great teenagers through these meetings. They were very intelligent, and they brought up great topics to talk about. I also love the team of adults. They were so kind and encouraging. All of these people really made me think further outside of Milledgeville. The team was also there when we needed them. They were always asking about school and how we were doing in life. I couldn't have asked for a better group to do this with. I wish the best for all of them. Throughout the year, we read and analyzed the book, Stamped, Racism, Anti-Racism, and You, by Jason Reynolds and Ibram X. Kendi. I highly recommend this book if you are truly looking to be educated. It will take you throughout the history of racism, starting at 1415 and ending today. This book does not beat around the bush. One of the most heartbreakingly true parts of this book is on the dedication page. It reads, "To the lives they said don't matter." Honestly, some sections are hard to get through. They can make you angry and upset, but you have to remember that you should be. Knowing the facts in this book is way better than being blind to what's happened and is still happening. And that anger you will develop should lead you to being actively anti-racist. Also at these meetings, we discussed different topics. These topics would include colorism in the media, racism in healthcare, current events like the election, the protest of the Capitol, and Asian hate, Black History Month, the disappearance of Native American women, and the effect of racism in youth. As a young person in America, it's hard for me to hear how dark the real world is. But I like to hope that the work that most of my peers and I are doing can inspire others to do the same. Together, we will be able to improve our society. At the end of Justice Generation, we had to complete a project that was meaningful to us and influence others to be anti-racist. There were a lot of great projects from other students, and I encourage you to check them out if they are put into the newsletter. For my project, I chose to really focus on how racism can affect children, especially since the youth in our church is a big thing. In my painting, it is obvious what the message is. There are different colors of hands together in a circle with the words, "Jesus loves all children," inside of a rainbow. This can be interpreted. Obviously, Jesus loves all. No matter how you were born, Jesus loves you. But it can also mean that you can find love in the church like I did. The people you meet at church will love and support you no matter what, and I would just like to add a quick thanks to all of you for doing that for me. I want people to know that Jesus' love is not limited. Any age can look at my project and understand what it means. I made it easy to comprehend on purpose. Since children are the future, I think this message, although it may be obvious, is extremely important for them to learn about. I wanted to make my project special to me, and I did so by making it about the youth. I'm a person of color living in a predominantly white neighborhood, and that never bothered me when I was young. I never even noticed. Kids notice that every person is different, but they don't know or care about the stereotypes if your skin is different. They just want a friend. And that's how my life was until 4th grade. I remember some kids on the playground calling me an illegal immigrant as a joke, and I went home to tell my grandma. I didn't know what it meant, I just thought it was funny, but she didn't. She had to explain that I'm a different ethnicity than my classmates and that I should stand up for myself next time. After that talk and as I got older, I started to notice more and more about how my peers treated me. They would make assumptions about my own life, take jokes too far, and other things. And it's only gotten worse as I've grown older, especially with how politics have gotten. Sometimes I wish I could go back in time and be a kid where it didn't matter what the color of your skin was because we didn't know what any of that meant. But most importantly, I wish adults would teach their children that skin color does not make you a better or worse person. Like I said earlier, kids are the future. I want them to grow up in a world where your race won't affect how people treat you. If we teach our kids that everyone is equal, no matter their differences, I believe that our society will be improved. I hope that eventually, children of color will have to sit down at the kitchen table and have an adult explain to them why they are different and why that will shape their life. Skin color is such a simple thing that can change so much about a person's entire existence. Why would we want to change that about society? And even though we're older, we can unlearn what society has taught us. Everyone is prejudiced against someone. And although it may be uncomfortable, I think the best way to become anti-racist is to admit that. You have to come to terms with the fact that the first thought you think is what society has taught you to think. The second thing that comes into your mind is your own thoughts. So if you see someone and you have a nasty opinion about them that fits into a stereotype, you're not alone. We need to admit these thoughts and break them down and unlearn them. We also need to see patterns of unfair treatment. Pretending that racism doesn't exist and that the world is perfect may sound nice, but other people would still struggle. Start with yourself and move on to helping others unlearn hate. This will develop ourselves for the better and one day the world. I learned a lot at Justice Generation. It was a mind-opening experience for me. I'm glad that I could share good things with you all, but what I want you to take away from this is that racism is still happening, and people like me face hate almost every day. And you may not feel comfortable talking about it, but I promise you that having a conversation about racism and anti-racism is important and what we need. We need to educate others, and we need to educate children so they can one day live in a racism-free world. I made my project to specifically get the message that you are loved no matter what across, and I hope that other people go out of their way to spread that message. If we all start talking about it, we can all make a change, and that's exactly what Justice Generation is doing. We're trying to make a change for the better, but we can't do it alone.